"You fed my girl, now I belong to you by ancestral tradition," said the Apache mom to the cowboy. The twin sons of Red Mesa beat down on the dusty canyon plains, painting the jagged rocks in harsh oranges and reds. The planet was beautiful but deadly. Scattered settlements of humans and alien tribes dotted the landscape, all struggling to survive in a harsh frontier world where water was scarce and danger was everywhere. Cowboy Jace rode through the canyon on his cybernetic horse, its metallic hooves clanging softly against the rocky ground. He was a lone space ranger, a man of few words and a sharp mind. His long coat fluttered in the hot wind, and his wide-brimmed hat shadowed his eyes, which constantly scanned the terrain for threats. He wasn't looking for trouble, but trouble seemed to find him anyway. Up ahead, a small figure crouched near a dying water source. Jace slowed, curiosity piqued. As he drew closer, he saw a girl, no older than 15, with dark braided hair and a determined expression. She was trying to filter some water from the murky pool using a strange alien device that hummed faintly. "Hey there," Jace said, his voice calm but firm.
The girl flinched, her eyes wide. She was clearly unarmed but wary.
I'm just trying to get water," she stammered. Jace dismounted and approached slowly, keeping his hands visible. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a small packet of food, synthesized to taste like earth beef jerky. "Here, eat. You look hungry." The girl hesitated, then slowly accepted the food. She chewed cautiously, eyes never leaving Jace's face. For a moment the canyon was silent, except for the distant call of alien birds and the soft hum of her water filter. "You fed my girl," a voice suddenly said. It was strong, commanding, and filled with authority. Jace spun around, hand reaching for his blaster, but he saw no weapon aimed at him. Instead, a woman stood at the edge of the canyon, her stance firm and proud. She wore a long robe of woven fiber mixed with glowing alien circuits. Her hair was streaked with silver, braided in traditional Apache patterns, and her eyes were sharp and observant. "I am Chief Ahuli," she said, her voice carrying over the canyon. "And you have fed my child. By our ancestral tradition that makes you bound to her and to me." Jace blinked. He had heard of strange customs on frontier planets, but this was new even for him. "Bound how?" he asked cautiously. "In our ways," Ahuli explained, stepping closer. "Feeding a child is not just kindness. It is a bond of duty, protection, and honor." "You cannot deny it." Jace frowned. He wasn't sure what he had walked into, but he could see the seriousness in her eyes. "I didn't mean to make trouble," he said. "I just saw someone in need." "You have made a choice," Ahuli said firmly, "and choices carry weight here. You will live among us until you prove yourself worthy, or until the bond is honored. Do not try to run." The canyon does not forget those who betray its laws. Jace weighed his options. Running might seem easy, but the canyon was treacherous, and alien predators roamed freely. Besides, he had a strange sense that this girl and her tribe were connected to something bigger, something important. "All right," he said finally. "I'll stay, for now. But tell me, what is your name, young one?" "Naya," the girl said softly, still wary but a little more trusting. "And thank you for the food." "You're welcome," Jace replied, offering a small nod. He studied her carefully. Naya was small, but there was something fierce in her eyes, a courage he recognized from himself. "Looks like you can handle yourself, too," he said. "Sometimes," Naya said, with a faint smile. Then her expression turned serious. "My mother, she doesn't like strangers. She trusts very few." Jace nodded. He could respect that. Trust was earned, not given. Chief Ahuli stepped closer, her eyes never leaving Jace's face. "You will learn our ways, outsider," she said. "You will respect our traditions, or you will face consequences. Feeding my girl was your first step. The next steps are far more demanding." Jace felt a chill run down his spine, not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility. He had faced outlaws, alien marauders, and corrupt miners, but he had never been bound by an ancient code. And yet, there was something compelling about Ahuli's words. He realized that survival here was not just about guns and speed. It was about understanding, respect, and alliances. Over the next few hours, Jace followed Ahuli and Naya to their settlement, hidden in the cliffs of the canyon. It was a marvel of frontier engineering. Huts and homes carved into the rock, connected by glowing bridges of alien metal. Technology and tradition blended seamlessly. Holographic maps floated above stone tables, while ceremonial masks of ancestral spirits lined the walls. Naya led Jace to a small room where he could rest.
"You'll need your strength," she said.
"Things are changing here. The corporation is moving in. They don't care about our land or our laws." Jace listened carefully. He had heard rumors of mining corporations exploiting Red Mesa, taking rare minerals and leaving nothing behind. He had dealt with greedy miners before, but this sounded bigger. "Sounds like trouble," he said. "Yes," Naya said, "and soon you will see why feeding me was only the beginning. The canyon chooses who stays and who must leave. And the bond, well, it can save lives or destroy them." Jace nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. He lay down exhausted from the day's journey, but sleep did not come easily. His mind raced with thoughts of the canyon, the tribe, and the strange connection forming between him and Naya, and through her with Chief Ahuli. In the quiet hours before the twin suns set, he could hear the wind whisper through the canyon, carrying with it faint echoes of old songs, old promises, and old warnings. The planet was alive, and it seemed to be watching him closely. The next morning, Jace awoke to the sound of drums and a low hum of energy. Ahuli had gathered the tribe for a morning ritual, welcoming him formally. The ceremony was simple, yet powerful. The tribe moved in perfect synchronization, chanting in a language that seemed to blend with the canyon itself. Ahuli approached him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You are now part of our story," she said. "Not by choice, but by honor. Remember, Cowboy, actions define the bond, not words." Jace bowed his head slightly, acknowledging the weight of her statement. "I understand," he said. "I'll do what I can." As he stepped out of the ceremonial circle, he saw Naya waiting, her eyes bright with determination. "Come on," she said. "I'll show you around. You need to learn our ways if you want to survive here." Together they walked through the settlement, past glowing walls, gardens of alien plants, and the shimmering water pools that sustained the tribe. Jace was amazed by how the Apache traditions had fused with alien technology, creating a unique balance between the past and the future. "You'll need to learn more than just our survival skills," Naya said as they approached a training area. "The canyon tests courage, intelligence, and heart, and sometimes it tests loyalty." Jace tightened the straps on his holster and adjusted his coat. He had faced dangers before, but this was different. Here, honor and duty were as sharp as any blaster. And failing the test was not just personal, it could endanger an entire tribe. As the suns began to rise higher, casting long shadows across the canyon, Jace realized that his life had changed forever. Feeding a girl had seemed like a small act. But here, on Red Mesa, it had bound him to a destiny he could never have imagined. And so, the lone cowboy and the fierce Apache tribe began their journey together, united by a bond older than any starship, older than any law, and stronger than any weapon. In the distance, a shadow moved across the cliffs, a hint that trouble was approaching. Jace's hand instinctively went to his blaster. The canyon had more tests in store, and the frontier was far from done with him. The bond had begun. And the story was just starting. The twin suns of Red Mesa had climbed higher, casting harsh light across the canyon settlements. Cowboy Jace woke early, the soft hum of alien machines mixing with the distant calls of native birds. He had slept fitfully. Memories of feeding Naya and the weight of Chief Ahuli's words pressed heavily on him. He knew he had to earn the tribe's trust, and already he could feel the canyon watching him. Naya was waiting outside, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon. "Come on, Slowpoke," she said with a grin. "Today you start learning our ways, survival skills first. Then we'll see if the canyon likes you." Jace swung onto his cybernetic horse and followed her. As they rode through the glowing bridges connecting the cliffside homes, he could see the tribe beginning their morning routines. Water harvesting, holographic farming, energy shields being powered up. The perfect blend of old customs and new technology. "This is amazing," Jace said. "I've never seen anything like it. How do you manage all this?" Naya shrugged. "We have to. Red Mesa is harsh. Corporations, predators, storms, they don't wait for us to be ready." Her tone grew serious. "And soon you'll see why I said that. You have to be more than fast on your feet. You have to think, trust, and fight smart." They arrived at a training area, a wide flat canyon plateau with holographic targets floating in midair and old-fashioned wooden dummies lined up along the edges. Tribal warriors moved gracefully between the targets, their movements fluid, precise, a combination of martial discipline and advanced combat training. "Your turn," Naya said. "We test both your aim and your decision-making. If you fail, well, the canyon remembers mistakes." Jace dismounted and examined the targets. They weren't ordinary holograms. They shifted, predicting his movements and forcing him to make split-second choices. He drew his blaster, adjusted the settings, and took a deep breath. The hum of the canyon around him seemed to intensify. The first targets moved quickly, requiring him to shoot while avoiding obstacles. Jace's reflexes kicked in, honed by years on dangerous planets. He dispatched the first wave with precision. But the next wave was different. The targets split into multiple projections, some appearing friendly, others threatening. He had to decide instantly. Shoot the dangerous, avoid the harmless. He missed a few, but Naya shook her head. Not bad for a start, she said. But the canyon tests loyalty, not just skill.
You need to learn the rules.
Rules? Jace asked, lowering his blaster. The canyon isn't just land, it's alive. It responds to courage, honor, and respect. If you make a choice that endangers the tribe or breaks our traditions, you will feel the consequences. Feeding me was only the beginning. You'll soon see what that bond truly means. Jace nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He had fought outlaws and mercenaries, but tribal customs, mixed with alien forces, were something entirely new. Alarms blared, holographic signals flashing red across the canyon walls. Jace and Naya raced to the edge, where several mercenary drones hovered menacingly, scanning for targets. "Corporation scouts," Naya whispered. "They've come for our resources, maybe to test us." Jace dismounted, scanning for cover. "Let's see if they know what they're up against." He noticed that the drones weren't just mechanical. They were modified with alien tech, making them fast and unpredictable. But he had seen similar designs before. His cybernetic horse leapt over rocks and small energy barriers, giving him a tactical advantage. As the drones fired, Jace ducked behind a glowing rock outcrop. He returned fire, disabling one drone with a precise shot. Naya darted forward, her hands glowing as she hacked into the drone's control signals, confusing them and forcing them to crash into the canyon walls. The tribe quickly mobilized using both technology and traditional weapons. Spears embedded with energy fields and holographic decoys made the drones falter. Jace was impressed. The Apache warriors were not just skilled. They were brilliant in combining ancient techniques with futuristic tools. After the last drone crashed, the canyon fell silent again. Chief Ahuli appeared, her presence commanding even in the quiet. "You have defended our tribe," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But this was only a test. The corporation is clever. They will return. And when they do, they will push us to the edge. Are you ready for that, Cowboy?" Jace wiped sweat from his brow. "I think so, but I'll need your guidance." Ahuli nodded. "Then you shall have it. But remember, the canyon watches all who enter. Every choice you make strengthens or weakens the bond you have with Naya and with me. Fail, and it will not forgive." Over the next several days, Jace trained under Naya and Chief Ahuli's supervision. He learned how to navigate the canyon's hidden paths, camouflage himself with both traditional paint and holographic tech, and anticipate the moves of corporate mercenaries. He learned the history of the tribe, their customs, and the sacred bond that connected a protector to a child. Every day, he felt the bond grow stronger. Feeding Naya had been a small act, but every shared training session, every mission, every decision reinforced the connection. He began to understand why Ahuli had chosen to bind him. It was not a trick or a trap. It was a path to survival, honor, and respect. One evening, as the twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the canyon, Jace and Naya sat on a ledge overlooking the settlement. "You're different from what I expected," Naya said, tossing a small rock into the canyon below. "Most outsiders just come and take. You actually care." Jace smiled faintly. "I've seen enough death to know when it matters who you help, and I care about keeping you safe." Naya looked at him, her expression serious. "Then prove it. The corporation won't wait for us to be ready. Soon, they will send real soldiers, and the canyon will be unforgiving to mistakes." Jace's jaw tightened. "I'll be ready. I've never backed down from danger. And now, this is more than survival. This is about honor, tradition, about keeping a promise." Naya smiled faintly. "Good. The canyon likes honesty. I will test you soon, not just your skill, but your loyalty. And sometimes, the hardest test is keeping the bond you made when you were too young, or too stubborn, to know its true meaning." Just then, a shadow passed across the horizon. Jace's eyes narrowed. The corporation's forces were approaching. He felt a thrill of anticipation mixed with respect for the canyon and the tribe that had taken him in. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a test of his courage, honor, and the bond that now tied him to Naya and Chief Ahuli. Ahuli appeared behind him, silent and commanding. The bond you formed is not a chain. It is a choice to stand with us, to fight, and to honor the ways of the canyon. Remember that. One wrong move, and the canyon will correct you. Jace nodded, feeling the weight of her words. I understand. And I won't fail. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the canyon in fiery reds and deep purples. The wind whispered through the cliffs, carrying a sense of warning and promise. Jace mounted his cybernetic horse, Naya riding beside him, and together they prepared for the challenges ahead. The bond had been tested once, and it had held. But the real trials were just beginning. The corporation's soldiers were coming, and the canyon would demand everything from them: skill, courage, and loyalty. Jace knew he had to rise to the challenge, not just as a cowboy, but as a protector, bound by tradition and honor to a girl and a tribe he was learning to call his own. And so, under the twin sons of Red Mesa, the lone cowboy and the fierce Apache tribe began their real journey, one that would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage they had. The frontier had found its hero, and the canyon had found its bond. The canyon was alive with a restless energy. The twin suns burned the horizon, casting long shadows over the jagged cliffs of Red Mesa. Cowboy Jace stood at the edge of the settlement, watching the distant glint of metal on the horizon. The corporation's mercenaries were advancing. Their ships hovered like vultures, scanning the canyon for weaknesses. Beside him, Naya adjusted the straps on her holodagger and scanned the paths through the cliffs. They're coming faster than I expected, she said.
We need to move before they spot the hidden entrances.
Jace's jaw tightened. Then we'll be ready. I've learned a lot since I arrived, but this is going to test everything. Chief Ahuli appeared silently behind them, her presence commanding. The bond you share is not just words. Today, it will be tested. The canyon will judge your courage, your loyalty, and your skill. If you fail, others will suffer. Jace swallowed, feeling the weight of her warning. He had defended the tribe before, but this time the challenge was larger. The mercenaries were not simple drones or scouts. They were armed, experienced, and cunning. Every choice he made could decide life or death for the people he had promised to protect. The tribe moved quickly, preparing their defenses. Holographic decoys shimmered along the canyon paths. Camouflaged energy barriers hummed faintly, and ancient traps enhanced with alien tech were readied. Jace noticed how seamlessly tradition and technology had merged. Spears embedded with energy filaments, stone catapults upgraded with graviton projectors, and holographic illusions created a maze for intruders. Follow me, Naya said, leading Jace to a hidden path along the cliffside. The canyon has secrets most outsiders never see. If we use them right, we can control the battlefield. Jace followed, his cybernetic horse moving silently over the jagged rocks. He had begun to understand the rhythm of the canyon, the way shadows shifted, how the wind carried sounds, and how the rocks could hide both people and danger. He felt a strange sense of respect for this land, which was both beautiful and lethal. As they moved deeper, a sudden alarm blared. Holographic sensors picked up multiple mercenary squads advancing through different canyon paths. "They're splitting up," Naya exclaimed. "We'll have to divide our forces." Jace studied the terrain. Then we use the canyon against them. The traps, the decoys, the narrow paths. We can force them into a choke point. Naya nodded. Good thinking. But we'll need to coordinate with the tribe. That's where the real test comes in. They reached a cliffside overlook, where Chief Ahuli had gathered the warriors. The corporation does not respect our ways, she said, but they will respect skill, courage, and unity. Today, the canyon will teach them a lesson. Cowboy, your bond with Naya is part of this plan. Trust each other. Jace nodded, feeling the bond stronger than ever. Feeding Naya had seemed simple at first, but now he understood. It was a promise, a responsibility. And he would honor it. The first wave of mercenaries appeared, descending from the canyon's upper paths. Jace and Naya moved to the forefront, flanking the entrance to a narrow passage where energy barriers and traps awaited. The mercenaries advanced cautiously, unaware of the holographic illusions hiding sharp drops and ambush points. Jace fired his blaster with precision, hitting hovering drones that provided cover for the soldiers. Naya darted through the shadows, her hands glowing as she manipulated the drone's systems, turning them against their own side. The warriors of the tribe emerged from hidden tunnels, combining martial skill with high-tech weaponry, cutting off escape routes. The canyon became a storm of motion. Sparks flew from energy barriers, holograms flickered as soldiers stumbled into traps, and the sound of blaster fire echoed off the rocks. Jace felt alive, fully immersed in the chaos. Every movement required split-second decisions, every choice weighed against the safety of Naya and the tribe. Suddenly, a squad of mercenaries breached the outer defenses, heading straight for Naya. Jace's instincts kicked in. He sprinted forward, using his cybernetic horse to leap over a barrier and intercept them. Blaster in hand, he fought with a mixture of skill and desperation. Naya, anticipating his moves, activated a holographic shield, deflecting incoming fire and giving him the edge he needed. "Over here!" she shouted. Together, they led the intruders into a narrow canyon path lined with traps. As the mercenaries pursued, energy nets rose from the ground, and walls of rock shifted to block their retreat. One by one, the attackers were caught, neutralized without lethal force. Chief Ahuli watched silently, her expression unreadable. When the last mercenary drone fell, she finally spoke. "The canyon recognizes courage and skill. You have proven yourself today, Cowboy. But the true test is not over. The corporation will not stop here. They will return with more force." Jace wiped sweat from his brow. "Then we'll be ready. I've learned a lot, and the bond, well, it's stronger than I imagined." Naya smiled faintly. "The canyon likes honesty." "And bravery. You've shown both. But remember, loyalty is tested in ways you cannot always see. The next wave might not be just soldiers. It could be spies, mercenaries disguised as traitors, or worse." Jace nodded, feeling the seriousness of her warning. The frontier was full of surprises, and Red Mesa was no ordinary world. Here, tradition and technology intertwined, and every action had consequences. As night fell, the tribe gathered around a glowing fire pit, enhanced with holographic projections of ancestral spirits. The air was thick with anticipation. Jace sat beside Naya, who handed him a small piece of alien fruit. "Eat," she said. "You'll need your strength. Tomorrow will be harder." Jace accepted it, noting the subtle glow of energy within the fruit. "You eat this every day?" he asked. "Yes," Naya said. "It strengthens the body and mind, but it also reminds us of the canyon, its dangers, its power, and the bond we carry. Eating it is more than nourishment. It is respect." Jace chewed thoughtfully. The canyon was teaching him lessons beyond survival. It was teaching him about responsibility, honor, and connection. Later, he and Naya walked to the edge of the cliff, overlooking the valley below. "Do you think they'll come back?" Jace asked. "They will," Naya said. "And next time, they'll be stronger. But we're ready. You're ready. The bond is more than just tradition. It's strategy, trust, and courage. It will save lives." Jace studied her face, seeing the determination and hope shining in her eyes.
"I promise," he said. "I'll honor the—"
"I won't let you or anyone down." Naya nodded. "Good. That is all the canyon asks. Trust, courage, and honor. And sometimes a little bit of luck." Just then, a distant rumble shook the cliffs. Jace's cybernetic horse twitched nervously. The first signs of the corporation's next assault had arrived. Jace drew his blaster, feeling a mix of adrenaline and anticipation. The real challenge was about to begin, and the canyon was ready to test them like never before. Chief Ahuli appeared beside them, her eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. "The bond you have formed is strong," she said. "But strength alone is not enough. Wisdom, patience, and unity will determine the outcome. Tomorrow, the storm rises. Be ready." Jace clenched his jaw, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The bond with Naya was more than tradition. It was duty, trust, and honor. And he would not fail. The twin moons of Red Mesa rose in the sky, casting silver light across the canyon. The night was silent, but it was a calm before the storm. Jace felt the bond tighten, a connection that reached beyond words. He had been tested and had passed, but the rising storm promised even greater trials. As he looked at Naya and the glowing cliffs of the settlement, he realized one truth. The frontier was no longer just a place of survival. It was a crucible, forging courage, loyalty, and honor. And he was ready to face it, all for the girl he had fed and the bond he had sworn to protect. The corporation would come, and when they did, the canyon would rise, the tribe would fight, and the cowboy bound by ancestral tradition would stand at the heart of it all. The rising storm had begun. The sky above Red Mesa burned with strange colors as the corporation's fleet descended. Massive mining ships hovered over the canyon like dark clouds, their engines shaking the ground. Lights swept across the cliffs, searching for hidden paths and secret entrances. The calm before the storm was over. Cowboy Jace stood at the highest ridge, his coat moving in the hot wind. Below him, the Apache settlement was alive with motion. Warriors took their positions. Energy shields hummed to life. Ancient stone structures glowed as alien power flowed through them. Naya stood beside him, calm but focused. "This is it," she said. "They are not here to test us anymore. They are here to take everything." Jace nodded. "Then we don't let them." Chief Ahuli stepped forward, holding a staff made of stone and light. Her voice carried across the canyon. "Today the bond will be fulfilled, not with words, but with action. Outsider, you were bound by feeding my child. Now you will stand as protector by choice." Jace removed his hat and lowered his head. "I stand with you. With Naya. With this land." The canyon seemed to respond. A deep vibration moved through the rock, as if Red Mesa itself had accepted his words. The first wave came fast. Dropships released squads of mercenaries onto the canyon floor. Drones filled the air, scanning and firing. The corporation had learned from past failures. They came prepared, coordinated, and confident. But so was the tribe. Holographic cliffs appeared where open paths once were. Energy nets rose from the ground, trapping machines mid-air. Warriors moved like shadows, striking fast and disappearing into the rock. Jace mounted his cybernetic horse and charged down a narrow ridge. His blaster fired with perfect timing, disabling drones and cutting off enemy support. He moved not like a lone cowboy anymore, but like part of a greater whole. Naya ran through the battlefield, her hands glowing as she hacked into enemy systems. "Jace!" she called out. "They're targeting the canyon core." Jace's heart dropped. The canyon core was the source of the tribe's power, an ancient alien energy chamber hidden deep beneath Red Mesa. If the corporation reached it, the land would die. "We can't let that happen," he said. "Take me there." They raced through hidden tunnels, the walls glowing brighter as they went deeper. The sound of battle echoed behind them, but ahead, a deeper hum filled the air. The core chamber opened before them, a vast cavern of floating stone platforms and glowing energy streams. At its center hovered a massive crystal structure, ancient and alive. But they were not alone. A corporate commander stood near the core, surrounded by elite guards and heavy drones. "Step away," the commander said coldly. "This energy belongs to progress, to the future." Naya stepped forward. "This land is alive." "You don't own it," the commander laughed. "Ownership is decided by power." Jace raised his blaster. "Then you picked the wrong place." The fight erupted instantly. Drones fired beams of energy. Jace rolled behind a floating platform, returning fire with calm precision. Naya moved through the air with anti-gravity boots, disabling systems and confusing enemy targeting. But the commander activated a stabilizer device, locking the core's energy flow. The cavern shook violently. Above them, the canyon screamed. Back on the surface, Chief Ahuli felt it. She slammed her staff into the ground and began to chant. The warriors joined her, their voices blending with the hum of the land. Inside the cavern, Jace felt something change. The bond. It pulsed through him, warm, strong, and clear. Memories flashed through his mind, feeding Naya, standing beside her, fighting for the tribe. The bond was not a chain. It was trust. "Naya," he said calmly, "the bond, it's guiding me." She nodded. "The core listens to those who protect, not those who take." Jace holstered his blaster and stepped forward, hands open. The commander shouted, but the energy around Jace responded, lifting him slightly from the ground. Jace placed his hand on the crystal. "I didn't come to own you," he said quietly. "I came to protect what matters." The crystal flared with light. The stabilizer shattered. A wave of controlled energy surged through the chamber, disabling corporate weapons without harming anyone. Drones fell silent, armor shut down. The commander collapsed to his knees, powerless. The battle was over. On the surface, the mining ships lost control. Energy pulses forced them back into the sky. One by one, they retreated, their systems overridden by the canyon itself. Silence returned to Red Mesa. As the sun began to rise, Jace walked back into the settlement. Warriors parted as he passed, their eyes filled with respect. Chief Ahuli approached him slowly. She studied his face, then placed her hand over her heart. "The bond is complete," she said. not because of tradition alone, but because you chose honor over power. Naya smiled, her eyes bright. You didn't have to stay, she said. But you did. Jace smiled back. Some places are worth fighting for. A ceremony followed, simple but powerful. No chains, no promises forced by words. Just shared food, shared silence, and shared understanding. Later, as the twin suns dipped low, Jace stood at the canyon edge, preparing to leave. His horse waited patiently. Naya walked beside him. Will you come back? She asked. Jace looked at the horizon. The frontier's wide, but bonds like this don't break easily. Chief Ahuli spoke one final time. You came as an outsider. You leave as kin. Wherever you ride, the canyon remembers you. Jace placed his hat back on his head. And I'll remember the canyon. He mounted his horse and rode into the glowing desert, not as a lone cowboy, but as a man changed by trust, tradition, and choice. Behind him, Red Mesa stood strong, free, alive, and protected. The bond, born from a simple act of kindness, became legend across the stars.